Good evening. This is the East Aurora Union Free School District Board of Education special meeting for Wednesday, October 6th, 2021. Please be advised, pursuant to New York Senate Bill S50001 and Assembly Bill A40001, the special Board of Education meeting will be held remotely via Google Meet. The Board of Education meeting can be viewed via live stream this evening at eastaurora.org/BOE MTG Live or via the link on our main district webpage. In addition, the Board of Education meeting will be recorded and transcribed at a later date. We had asked that that folks who would like to submit a comment or statement for the Board of Education to have in advance of the meeting were to email them to BOE@EAK12 prior to 5 p.m. yesterday, Tuesday, October 5th, 2021. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any agenda changes tonight?
Let's see, excuse me for 1 second. Yes, so agenda change is new item under 12, items requiring board action. Item F, approve revision of substitute teacher pay rates effective for the 21-22 school year. New item under 12, items requiring board action. Item G, approve memorandum of agreement by and between the East Aurora Union Free School District and the East Aurora Civil Service Personnel Association.
Thank you. Did we want to move any of those up to the beginning of the meeting? Let's see, we have an item 3, items requiring board action. Are we good with leaving those as item 12?
I think we could do that. That's fine. Yeah, we can leave them where they are. I think it's fine.
Okay. Then I'll move on to item 4, superintendent's comments.
Yes, I have a few today. Let's see. Oh gosh, let me see where we go. Okay. Well, I met with Jessica and Terry. We had a request from 2 parents, Deneen Cole and Mrs. Vona, and they wanted to meet with us to talk a little bit in regard to state mandates. What you received, they sent us a memo. They shared a memo with us when we met. We had a very nice conversation. We had a chance to kind of listen to each other and share our thoughts. They then did give us a memo that was shared with you. And I believe you received it maybe today or maybe yesterday was possible. So what we'll do is we'll discuss that at the next board meeting. But I appreciate them reaching out to us and looking for solutions. So we had a good meeting. Also, this past, let's see, where are we today? This past weekend was homecoming, and I'll let Bill and Travis talk about that a little bit later on. But it was a great weekend, and part of it was the color run that took place on Saturday morning. We had probably somewhere close to 500 runners, and we've raised a considerable amount of money. We're meeting tomorrow to kind of debrief and see what the final numbers look like. But we've raised a considerable amount of money, and I'll be sharing the details with you for FISH, the Boys and Girls Club, and the Rural Outreach Center. So it was a really great day. It was beautiful weather. It was great to have everyone together and to celebrate that way. And so we really, really enjoyed the afternoon. And like I said, we had homecoming, great football game, flag football game on Thursday, but the guys will give you details in a little bit. And then I wanted to talk to you about unified sports. I know that we had talked about unified sports before. Give me one second. Just gonna put a few notes here. And so, we wanted to look into a program. So Cindy's kind of leading a team of administrators to talk about getting it started in East Aurora. And so Unified Sports basically provides athletic competition for students with disabilities. And so the purpose of the program, it's focused on, first is we're going to start with the first sport is going to be basketball, which will start this spring. It's really to promote social acceptance and inclusion. And so what we would do is we would apply for a grant through the Special Olympics, and they provide $3,000 in startup funding. They give us $2,000 for the first year, and then an additional $1,000 in the second year. And that would, and then from there on out, it would be our responsibility. And so there would be a coach that would take care of the team, and also the Youth Activation Committee. And the Youth Activation Committee plans activities and events to support the team. And the message is to prevent bullying and to be inclusive. And so we would need an advisor for that as well. It's a modified season, and it only runs about 8 weeks. It starts in April and runs through the end of May. Doug Ames, the Section 6 coordinator, met with us this week. And so we really had a good conversation. So we're ready to move forward. So we'll be bringing more information to the board over the next couple of months with the anticipation of starting with basketball in April. So we're very excited about that. And there's about, I believe, is it 42 other teams, 42 other schools in Western New York that participate at this time. So we're really looking forward. We think it's going to be a very exciting program for our students.
Thanks. I think we have one question.
Yep, go ahead.
Kim?
Brian, is that a co-ed program?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're really excited about it. And then there's another opportunity too for bowling, but we're going to look at that at a future date.
And a question from Judy.
Judy, yeah.
Still muted, Judy.
There it goes.
There you go.
Sorry, my finger wasn't hitting it hard enough. No, I was just wondering, will they have their own team or will they be integrated into the other teams?
Yeah, it's their own team, but they have
Okay.
a support athlete with them as they play the game. So it's their own season. It's separate from our basketball season. Yeah, so they have their own individual season. Like I was saying, it's about 8 weeks. But there will be other athletes that will be out there to support those that need it.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Cindy, any other comments on that? Cindy worked with it in Pembroke. They got a program started about a year or two ago. So I don't know if you have any other comments or I covered most of it.
Oh, you're muted, Cindy.
I was trying to unmute too. I couldn't remember where the button was. No, we did start it. It was right before I had left Pembroke to return to East Aurora. That was the year we started the previous year, but everything got shut down due to COVID. So, but we had done exactly what we started doing here in East Aurora is we met with and Pembroke was actually in section 5, but they allowed us to play in section 6. So we met with Doug Ames, we applied for the grant, we used it towards the uniforms the first year and some of the coaching stipend. And then it was after I had left and they had actually started the program, they had sent me videos of some of our students, and I'd love to share those with the board at some point. It was very exciting for the entire school. I got a lot of positive feedback from it. So hopefully we can do the same thing here in East Aurora.
Great, thank you. And then let's see. Oh, and then one thing I wanted to talk to the board about is just our next board meeting on the 20th. It's 2 weeks from today. Just wondering if the board was interested in maintaining a virtual meeting or if they want to consider coming back to a live meeting.
Brian, do you and the administrators feel comfortable? Are you all prepared? Not to throw it back in your lap, but
Yeah, no,
how does it look on the setup and
yeah, since last week, I would say that things have certainly improved. I had a lot of people reach out to me to say that they're sorry that it happened and that they support us. I haven't heard anything else between now and then. So I think, we can certainly monitor it and see how things go. I'm hoping things will improve. And, we've had some good conversations with some people that, maybe have a difference of opinion, but who are willing to, sit down and talk, and have conversations around how we can find solutions that work for everyone. And so, I'm comfortable moving forward. I don't know how the rest of the board feels about that.
oops, Judy?
I'm comfortable with it. Give it a trial. As long as everyone can come to the table and be respectful, I think that would be just fine. I'd be more than willing to do that.
Thank you.
Thanks. Terry?
I would definitely prefer to be in person. As I have expressed to the board, I just feel like it's a total different feeling being in person than it is virtual. So I would much prefer to be in person. I will say, though, that I've been pretty disheartened by some of the comments that I have heard today in the last couple of days. Certain people who think that the threat that we had last week was not legitimate. And they're saying the reason that we canceled the meeting was solely because we didn't want to hear people's comments. And that could be nothing further than the truth. And I'd like to make it very clear to everyone who's listening and watching that that is not an accurate statement. There was a threat, and it's our job to keep everyone safe. At the high school, we had hundreds of students up there that evening, and we had to take them into consideration. I didn't enjoy walking into a board meeting and having a police officer greet me. I didn't enjoy having my son tell me that, Mom, maybe you shouldn't go to the meeting. I didn't enjoy having my husband drive by twice to make sure that I was safe. So for anyone who thinks that we are lying and there was no threat, that is a completely inaccurate statement, and it's actually very insulting. So I just wanted to point that out there and make that comment. But I am all for public meetings as long as we can do it safely.
Thank you, Terry. Joe, excuse me.
Yeah, I also am in favor of meeting in person. I appreciate that we had this as an option and we were able to meet so we can get some business done tonight, but I would much prefer to be in person.
Thank you. Kim, how about you?
Yes, again, I'm comfortable going forward in person as long as we can do this without it being disruptive, and that we have the respect that we need when we're conducting these meetings. And I just want to echo and join what Terry said about some of the comments that we've heard from certain people in the community saying that this wasn't, a potential problem, and that we did have to be cognizant of all of our students and all of our faculty and staff, and be cautious. And so from that perspective, I'm fine going forward, but I think we need to make sure that we have all of our protocols in place as we go forward.
Thank you very much. Mr. Flowers?
Madam President, how you doing?
Fine. Do you hear my dog barking? I would like
Yeah,
to be in
don't-
person. I'm just
Don't
going to
blame
say,
that on
'cause
Joe.
the dog's not invited.
I'm fine, meet. I'd certainly rather meet in person. Just a reminder, it is a business meeting. We have business to do. We've got a budget that's coming up, which we'll need to address and have time to talk about. We've got committee reports. There's a lot going on. I think it's important we meet in person, but certainly we need to be respected too. It is a business meeting. That's how it's set up, once a month, and we're required to do that. So, yeah, I'm fine. One more chance or maybe two more chances, but I agree with what Terry said, and certainly Kim and the superintendent. I'm fine with it, but it is a business meeting. We need to move forward.
Thank you very much. Mr. Brunson?
I have no objection.
Thank you. I also have no objection, and I agree with everything that you all have said wholeheartedly. Thank you all. And Brian and team, thank you for being so flexible at all times. Let's plan on meeting in person on the 20th.
And Ms. Umbras, from that standpoint, we were ready last time. We will be ready this time if it is in the high school odd. We were fully set up and mic'd and ready to go. So I don't anticipate that being a problem. We'll talk specific details, but from a open to the public and making sure everyone can hear and see us, we have all the wires needed for that to happen, and we were ready to go last week, and we'll be ready to go on the 20th as well.
Thank you very much.
If I can just comment on that, I'd like to say I think it is unfortunate that people who make irresponsible comments impact many other people who are willing to participate in a productive way. And as a school district, it is our burden to make sure that people are safe, our students, our staff, the people who attend our meetings. And when we receive threatening statements, we have no choice but to respond to those statements. And unfortunately, it came in on Wednesday. We didn't have much time to decide or to work through the process. So we had to err on the side of caution. As Terry mentioned, we had hundreds of students at the high school on that particular day. Many of the seniors were planning on attending the meeting because they need to do so for community service credit for their programs. And so, there's nothing more than we want to do than to be in person. When we were locked down because of COVID and for months and months we were online, it's just not the same. We prefer to be there. We prefer to engage with the audience. We prefer to provide them with opportunities to share their ideas, but we need to do so in a way that is respectful. We don't have to agree. They don't have to talk about messages that we don't necessarily agree with. They can say what they would like, but it has to be done in a way that allows us to conduct our business. We have to work through the process with some decorum and respect. And I'm hoping that we can do that on the 20th because we do want to hear what the public has to say. There's no question. The idea that the threat was not true is honestly ridiculous. And there are only a few people out there that are saying it, but they do have loud voices. So I think we need to stay focused on those who are positive and who want to engage in a positive way. And I think we can move forward and do the good work that we have been in the past. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you very much. Brian, do you have any other comments?
No, I think that is it for me tonight. Thank you.
Thanks. I'm going to jump in first tonight for board member comments, just to thank my fellow board members. Your calm perseverance and dedication to the district, our schools, and our community is shining through these days, and I cannot thank you all enough. Not one of you is here with a personal agenda, and you volunteer your time and your energy with incredible generosity. So thank you. The current climate is very stressful, and it can be fraught with misunderstanding, as we've discussed. I'm truly grateful for your efforts to continue your board work with grace and compassion. Brian, to you and your team of administrators, thank you for your steady leadership now and through the entire pandemic and all those regular times we had before that. You have very high standards, and our district's values and visions are clearly at the forefront of your ongoing work. So thank you all. On a lighter note, I got to attend the high school open house, whenever that was recently. It was absolutely phenomenal. It was so very close to normal. It was amazing to see all the teachers. I appreciated the Mr. Roberts and Mr. Moore show over the PA system throughout the evening. It was fantastic. It was light and full of information. It was incredible to see other parents and teachers, and thank you. It's just absolutely phenomenal. And the business end, thank you, board members, for your feedback on the NYSBA resolutions. I will vote on our behalf on October 18th. And Paul may have more information, but the ECASB legislative breakfast is coming up on November 13th. And I believe we get to send one person, so we can discuss, and I'll lob that one to Paul. That's it from me. Who would like to go next? I'm going to start with Mr. Blowers, just for sport.
Thank you. I have a few things to catch up on. Can you hear me okay, Madam President? Cool. Okay.
Yes.
The audit committee has met twice since my last report. The first meeting was held on July 26th. There were 4 auditors from BWB present. 2 school district employees were also present, and then 4 members of the audit committee were present. BWB outlined their responsibilities during the annual audit process, as well as the school district's responsibilities. BWB submitted comparative financial statements for review. The statements compared East Aurora's financial position with that of Western New York State schools and similar school districts statewide. The group discussed the likelihood of timely reimbursements from both the state and federal governments for past and future expenses associated with the pandemic, the Smart Schools Initiative, school meal program, and summer transportation. And then finally, a new committee chair was elected. The second audit committee meeting was held on September 27th. An in-depth presentation of the preliminary audit findings was given by the auditors from BWB. The audit report is for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021. The preliminary audit is 70+ pages long. The audit committee members asked several questions and received explanations from the auditors and business administration that made the group feel confident enough to recommend that the Board of Education accept the audit findings as presented by BWB. The auditors will formally present the final audit document to the Board of Education on October 20th for acceptance. The auditor's Board of Education presentation will be a short summary rather than a complete review of the audit document, thank God. The audit committee has authorized the business administrator to submit the final document on or about the deadline date of October 15th. We know that date is before our next meeting and a formal adoption, but there certainly is no problem from the auditor's end or the committee's end that we give advance approval on that. If anyone doesn't approve of that from the board tonight, we'll need to hear that, and then we can pass it on to the business administrator. I attended a portion of the new staff orientation program in August. Mr. Brunson and Mr. Mambretti were outstanding presenters. And then finally, tomorrow night, I'll be attending my 3rd meeting of the Erie County Association of School Boards. I attended a meeting on August 26th, which is a back to school dinner meeting. September 30th was a legislative team meeting, which I attended. And then tomorrow is the fall awards dinner, which I'll attend. And Kathy Ann will be receiving something tomorrow night on that. And then the legislative team meets again on October 21st. It's my understanding that we'll have 2 slots for our school district. We'd like to send two representatives. It's going to be set up at Erie One BOCES. As you walk in the Conference Center B, if you go to the right, there'll be the representatives for the South towns. And then if you go to the left in the larger room, the representatives from the North towns will be there. They did review at our meeting which representatives have confirmed yes, who's confirmed no, and the ones that have not responded yet. Mr. DiPietro responded no, but Mr. Galvin has responded yes, that he will be there. So I don't really know how much we'll get out of that. I know the meetings several years ago were all together, North Towns, South Towns, all the representatives are in the same room. They're going to be split. So I think whoever decides to go, just be ready for that. I don't know how much of an opportunity you'll have to meet with the legislators from our school district. Now it's been a busy start to the school year as a school board member, and it's been fun. But that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. Does anyone have concerns about the early approval of the audit? Okay, no concerns there. Thank you. And could I suggest that go ahead, Kim.
Paul, just a quick question. When you were referencing, they were talking about getting the funding from the state. Did you get a feel for what that timetable looks like? Did they, in the first report when you were talking about that, did they say, like, do they feel as though that money is going to be coming soon or?
Well, that's a great question. That's kind of how I brought it up as a concern as to when it is going to come. Dan, did you have a sense of when it would be here or how it'd be delayed or?
No, I think it comes when it comes. You know, I don't know how you move the powers that be in Albany or Washington along any faster than they care to go.
And that's how I was really left with the audit and the auditors. It's a concern. It's things we need to talk about. And I brought that up at the legislative meeting the other night of concerns that we have had is just the timely reimbursements for cash flow purposes. And also mentioned it's going to be part of our audit. We mentioned in our audit that, we got receivables, we have some money due, plus we'll need to file for future claims. But the key is to do the paperwork on our end, get it in on time and accurately, and then like Dan said, wait. Did that help?
Thank you. And could I ask that anyone who is interested in attending the legislative breakfast to please email Jackie? Thank you. Mr. Brunson, do you have anything tonight?
Thank you. Yes, a couple things. First of all, I want to thank Paul for taking on the leadership of the audit committee. He's doing a great job, and as he mentioned, we've had 2 meetings already, and it's a nice group of people who are watching carefully over the school district's finances. Secondly, I know Paul mentioned my participation in the orientation program for new staff members. I just love giving that bus tour, and I live for being able to actually do it on a bus. For 2 years now, we've done it virtually, and it was fun. And it was like being up on a stage and having visual aids to help you out. And I thank Mark and Jess for helping to make my life easy with regard to that presentation. And it was a nice group of people. A very large group of new employees. So congratulations to Mark and to Brian for bringing all those people on board. They seem to be very excited, enthusiastic folks, and I look forward to being able to visit their classrooms and see them in the halls in the school. So it's great having them there. Another thing I did since last week, we have a lot to say because we haven't had a chance to report for a while on things we've been doing. But one of the things I did was to attend the dedication ceremony for the ABC Fitness Center up at the high school. And I just want to congratulate the East Aurora Educational Foundation and the major contributors who made that happen. The district had the money to renovate the space, but the foundation and the people that contributed the bulk of the funds made it a workable space by getting all the equipment to make it happen. So that was a great ceremony, and it was good to have the people from the foundation and some community members and staff members there, and there were students demonstrating the equipment. So it was a good little ceremony. The other thing I attended was the opening day for all the school employees, and I enjoyed hearing Betsy Deckert Boss remind everyone who works for the school district that the foundation is available and is willing to help to finance some of the innovative ideas that teachers and principals have. So I was glad she was able to come and present. And congratulations, Brian, for a great day, for a good opening. It was in the gymnasium, which I thought was great. And it was just very well done. So in general, I think the events that I've attended in July, August, and September demonstrate that our district is very healthy, and we have some very enthusiastic people, and I'm delighted to be a part of it. So thanks.
Thank you, Dan.
If I can just comment, and I agree, Dan. I think I've missed a few comments. With the meeting schedule has been a little disrupted. But I just wanted to comment on the fitness center and one of our teachers, Josh Dubé, who's at the high school. He's one of our newer math teachers. And, when we were working with, it was Barb Beebe-Core and John Arlotta, they made a very significant contribution facilitated by the East Aurora Educational Foundation to purchase the equipment for us, which we would have had to have done over a period of years because of the expense of the equipment. So they gave us the money so that we could buy all the equipment and get things started. And we started an after-school club, just like a weightlifting club. And Josh was really excited to do it. He enjoys that. And my hope was that he would be able to kind of reach out to some of those students who aren't not necessarily engaged in athletics or those types of activities. And, our athletes are in there all the time. Their coaches are bringing them in as part of their training. But I wanted to see it to be used, by other students who are not on our teams, as well as our faculty. And so what he's done is he's created this club that has just attracted so many boys and girls, and he works out with them and helps them to train, because so many people don't know how to go into a fitness center and work all the equipment or those types of things. And sometimes it's a little embarrassing, or they're not exactly sure how to start or how to start training or what equipment to use. So he's just done a great job inviting. I can't tell you how many students participate. And it's this extra benefit that we were hoping that would happen. And he's brought it to fruition. He's just done a beautiful job. He's a great guy. He just connects with the kids so well. And, I've heard from parents and from students about how it's really kind of changed their lives, how much they're in much better shape. They have more confidence. And now they're willing to maybe try out for a sport that they weren't willing to try out for in the past. So that contribution from Barb and John, it's just really, it's just gone much farther than we had ever thought. And so we're so grateful for their generosity, and also to the foundation, like I said, for facilitating it. And it's just been a great resource for all of our students and our staff members as well. So I just wanted to share that story with the board.
Thank you. Kim.
I have a couple of things, and it seems so long ago, but in July, I attended a 2-day law conference put on by NYSBA, covering all different types of issues, from the pandemic to helping kids transition back. And then in August, I attended the Western New York Law Conference, which was also a 2-day conference. So I have a lot of papers. We can discuss it. One of the things I was talking with Mr. Brunson about is maybe picking a topic that we could talk about, just so that we could kind of maybe at a board meeting discuss one area that was highlighted in these conferences that I attended. So that's something we could talk about if we want to do that in the future. But I do have the handouts, so if anyone's interested in that. And the only other thing I wanted to mention is I did go to the celebration, which I know a lot of you were at, that for the East Aurora Foundation, that I can't remember the date. It was early September, possibly. And it was a wonderful event, and it was wonderful to see everyone. It was at the ice rink, and I just want to say, thank you to the committee and to the foundation for putting on that wonderful event and for all that they do. So, thanks. I think that's it.
Thank you, Kim. Judy, do you have anything tonight?
Just a couple things. I just want to remind everybody about the visitations that are coming up, just so you're aware. The high school visitation is the 3rd of November at 8:15, I believe. Mr. Roberts, am I correct? Okay. All right. And middle school visitation, I think we're going to be there between 11 and 11:30. That's what we're aiming for. Sound good? Okay. Thank you. And then elementary will be 11:05 at 8 o'clock. We'll meet with the advisory there. And the only other thing I wanted to mention, and isn't about somewhere I've been, but it was something that I mentioned it to the board the last time we got together, but I think the administrators should hear it because it was pretty awesome. I was at a church meeting, and a person came in from Iroquois. Their daughter swims, and there was a meet at our high school. And when they walked into the gym, when this particular family walked into the gym, they took one look at our girl swimmers and thought, this is going to be a challenge, because they were in such good shape and what have you. Well, at any rate, it was not a blowout, but definitely East Aurora won big time. But they were so impressed with the sportsmanship of our girls that they stood beside the pool and clapped until every last swimmer was through. Now, they've always done that when I've been to swim meets, but these people hadn't seen it before. And it really left a very strong positive impression. And I just wanted to share that. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. It's working. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Terry.
I think Paul's hand is up.
Oh, Paul.
Judy, regarding the visitation, will we be visiting any of the preschool sites?
Oh, Judy, you're on mute.
Didn't I? I did it again. Sorry. I asked Tahani, and she said yes. That would be the one in the Parkdale. We'll be visiting. So yes, I thought that was important.
Thank you.
Any
Both.
suggestions you have, we can just tell the administrators, and they'll help us with that.
And if the board does want to do a quick stop by the East Aurora Community Nursery, we would have to, obviously there are rooms, but they're hosting us, so we could work on that if that is the pleasure of the committee, to do a quick stop by those 2 rooms. I would just need some heads up to, they try and keep things very calm and not a lot of disruption over there for a very good purpose. So if that is the pleasure of the committee, Ms. Malice, if you let me know, I could coordinate that.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Terry.
I also attended the Western New York Law Conference in August, and I have all the handouts if anyone also wants a copy of those. I think it's a great idea, Kim, to do what you suggested, perhaps to pick one topic for each meeting. There's a lot of great things that were brought up. I also was there Saturday morning for the color run. And while I didn't run, Mr. Russ ran, Tahani ran. I think Cindy I think you ran, Cindy. No, you did not run.
No,
but
I didn't run. I volunteered at the.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Moore ran. There's his.
Oh, that's right. Travis ran.
Yes,
he got
it the worst of all of us. So
he owes a lot of pizza to the high school students, from what I understand. It was wonderful to see so many students out there laughing, running, and just having fun. And the color blast at the end. I had never been to a color run before. How everyone just throws the packets up at the very end. I really hope this becomes an annual event because it was really cute to see. About a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, the 3 PTOs continued their lecture series at the high school. So I really want to send a thank you to the 3 PTOs, in particular, Lori Mahoney, who found this particular speaker, and his name was Michael Lutzenkirchen. And if you don't know, the PTOs have been doing an ongoing lecture series where they 2 or 3 times a year, they find someone to come in and speak to usually the students and then the parents as well. Mike came in on over 2 days, a Monday and a Tuesday, and he spoke to the 2nd graders all the way up to the 12th graders. And he is the national spokesperson for distracted and impaired driving, as well as the executive director for the Lutze 43 Foundation. When he had a son who was 23 years old, who was killed by a distracted driver. And because of that, he has created this foundation. And he goes around the country and speaking to different students, different parents, showing them and telling them his story and showing them how people can get so distracted by driving. And since that particular night, I've had a bunch of parents come up and say to me how just listening to him speak has impacted them, or having their kids hear them has impacted them. As a matter of fact, this morning I was at a meeting and one of the parents said to me that she had her phone out and her daughter said, "No, Mom, you can't do that. You're being distracted." So she's now trying to put her phone in the back seat because, and the girl said she learned this from Mike, and the mother was like so incredibly impressed. So it was just an absolutely amazing speaker. I know, Brian, I know you were there, Jessica was there. I'm not sure if anyone else heard him, but it was just a really heartbreaking story, but one that he is trying to get out to everybody. And he has this thing called 43 seconds. And he gave every person who attended this key card with the key. And it says 43 key seconds. It's got East Aurora Blue Devils with a lanyard. I mean, what he's saying is it only takes 43 seconds for you to make sure before you start driving that you are in the right mindset to start driving. And it's clear your head, clear your hands, clear your eyes, and click it. And now turn your key. And it was a really moving presentation. The next one is going to be in March. So I highly encourage anyone, just an hour and a half, take advantage of these speakers because they really have some worthwhile information that I think everyone could enjoy listening to. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Joe, thank you for your patience.
Yeah, no problem. I'm the youngest of 8. I'm used to waiting. So a lot of the things that I was going to mention have been mentioned. The new hire for the district was great, and I loved Dan's bus tour. And then later that night was the Erie County Association of School Boards back to school dinner that Paul and I were both at, and we got to hear for the second time that day Mark Nambretti. And I just want to make it a point to mention that I personally think that our school district is pretty lucky to have Mark. I know, I'm sure all of you have heard his presentation. Some of you can probably quote it, but it was fantastic. And I heard from other school district board members that night on what a great presentation it was. So thank you, Mark, for that. I was also at the kickoff with Mr. Brunson at the high school for the district, and that was pretty cool. One of my favorite things about that was hearing the milestone anniversaries, and I thought those were pretty remarkable. Especially, I think it was Mrs. Sayaki who had 30 years, celebrating 30 years, which I just think is absolutely outstanding. So I think we're lucky. What's I can't see you.
I think it's 38.
35. Okay. Well, there we go. That's even better. And then I got to go back to school. So I got to hang out with Matt Brown at the entrance of the middle school on the first day of school. And that was a pretty awesome experience because the kids coming back, the excitement was just palpable, all right? And watching them walk up with their friends and chit-chatting and excited to see, the teachers and Mr. Brown and the staff. It was pretty great to get the chance to be there, and I'm thankful that I had the opportunity. And then I got to go back for open house as a parent, but I never pass up an opportunity to go to one of those open houses. And so I was at the middle school for that one, and it was great. I went on September 9th to the Erie County Association of School Boards delegate assembly meeting, which was great. And I think the awards dinner has been mentioned, and then the legislative breakfast. And looking at the emails that we get from them, they do a pretty fantastic job, I think, of listing everything that's coming up or happening with them. So I'll spare you those details. But the round robin at the end, where all of the members from all the different school boards in attendance go around and speak for a minute on what's going on in their district was great to hear. And I think that there are some districts who are getting a lot of feedback from their communities about the back to school policies, and then there's some who are not. So it varies throughout the county. The other thing is that this past Friday and Saturday, I attended my state mandated new school board member training. I got to do a full day Friday on the fundamentals of school board governance. And then I went back on Saturday for a full day of the fiscal oversight. And that was great. It was very informative. It was up in Niagara Falls, and we had new school board members, not just from Erie and Niagara County, but going all the way down to the New York City area as well, and Long Island, who came up for that training. And it was great to chat with those folks. The other thing is, I want to congratulate our cross country team in this short school year already has hosted 2 invitationals. I don't know how many people have participated in those, but I volunteered for both of them, and it's no small feat to pull off an invitational where dozens of schools from all around the state are coming in and participating in the event. And our coaches and our booster club do a fantastic job of that, and those went off, I thought, just fantastically. And lastly, the Powder Puff football game, I got to go, the very first one I've ever attended, and what a treat that was. I think I'm going to ask Charlie Improda if he'll follow me around and do the play-by-play on my life, because I think that would make it much more entertaining. And then, and as a side note, someone mentioned that Mr. Moore got hit pretty good in the color run. That may or may not have had to do with some questionable calls and some grudges being held by the freshman senior team. I don't know. I mean, they won, so I don't know why they would be upset. But that may or may not have been the reason. Who knows? Anyhow, lastly, I just want to congratulate the administration, the faculty and staff on what seems to be a great start to the school year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joe. Thank you all. I think I've caught everybody. My Brady Bunch screen here. Moving on to administrator comments. Joanne, you're top of my screen. Do you have anything for comments?
Not at this time. I'll have things to report at our next meeting.
Okay, thank you. If you'll all bear with me, I think I'm going to go around the screen. So Ms. Pantoja, you are next.
Good evening, everyone. We're off to a very busy start. We've had a very successful supply drop-off and meet the teacher opportunity. In addition, we had great participation during the color run. I was out there running and dancing and having a great old time. The kids were smiling, and we just enjoyed ourselves so much. Our pre-K class has been a fantastic addition to our community, and they are acclimating so very well to our rituals and routines in the building. We're excited. Tomorrow we have our fall festival. We're looking forward to having our community back for an annual opportunity to get together and enjoy the season. And last but not least, I just want to thank our Parkdale community for an amazing opening. Our PTO has been super supportive, as well as the EA administrative team. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I have to sort of go in school order. I'll get all confused. Mr. Brown. Oh, you're muted.
Well, let me go ahead and assist Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Albach.
And I was one thing that I was going to mention for the middle school. At the beginning of the year, we had a speaker come in, aside from Mike Lutzenberger, who had spoken to our students as well. But we had a gentleman named Brad Herdig come in, and he had a message for the students called Find a Way. So if you haven't seen the promo video, I'd be happy to send it to you. It gives you goosebumps watching it. But long story short, Brad was injured in high school, and it resulted in him losing both arms from the elbow down. So as he was trying to resume regular life and playing football again in high school, there was a line that stuck with me from his football coach. And he said, Brad, if you're thirsty enough, you'll find a way. So that was kind of the light bulb that went off in his head and allowed him to turn the corner as he started to get on with life again. So he sent that same message to the kids. And it was such a simple message, but it could affect every single kid that was there listening. And it was such a well-designed presentation. And it really did a lot from there in the message. And we took that and we also turned it into a challenge. So for 3 weeks after his presentation, we did a challenge called the Find a Way Challenge. So each week we came up with a simple challenge for the kids to find a way to do something, such as find a way to meet a new friend during the first week, find a way to communicate without using technology. So we threw those challenges at them, had some nice prizes for them. So all in all, it was a real great success from the actual presentation from Brad all the way to the end of our challenges just this past week.
Thank you very much. Mr.
I
Brown.
think I have it fixed now. Can you hear me? Okay, sorry. Apparently there's another mute button that I wasn't aware of. So yeah, Matt did a great job of talking about Brad. And then the only other things I was going to mention is similar to what Tahani said. Just the beginning of the school year has been full of energy. It's been, a really good start. And many of you mentioned this evening so far the addition of new teachers and new staff members. We have several new teachers and staff members at the middle school, and I just couldn't be more proud of how they're doing and proud of our hiring committees for hiring the right people, because I really believe that we've done that. We found a lot of teachers with a lot of passion and energies and expertise. But not only that, also to see some of our veteran teachers really take them under their wings, form really strong relationships, helping them get acclimated to the middle school. And it's just really, really been pretty incredible to see some of the relationships and the growing that's already been taking place. The last thing I did want to mention is the homecoming parade. I'm sure Bill or Travis will talk more about homecoming, but this year was nice. It was the first time, I believe the first time ever, that the middle school has had a float. And our student council and spirit club led the charge, and we had a lot of help from Tom Stabell, one of our custodians. He was absolutely incredible and brought a lot to the table to make a really cool float. And we had, I believe it was 40 to 45 middle school students who participated in the homecoming parade this year. And we've never done that before. And it was just really cool just to see the pride that they took within the school and with the float. And it really felt like it was a district event rather than just, a homecoming for the high school. It was really nice to to have that feeling for the whole district. So thank you to Bill for the invite, and hopefully we will make that an annual thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a very cool parade. All right, Mr. Roberts and Mr. Moore. Who gets to go?
Can I say that I was sort of hoping that Matt's technical difficulties would continue so I could take some of his time with my long-winded address tonight, but I'll try and keep it brief. So just to echo, last week was a fantastic week. Started with the float building, as Matt said, and we were thrilled to have the middle school join us, and the challenge goes out tonight that Parkdale join us next year. So we had our float building earlier in the week, and as Mr. Cassidy said, we had a fantastic flag football game won by our seniors and freshmen, and I made the wise decision to be up in the booth and work the scoreboard and put Mr. Moore in the challenging spot of refereeing that game, but he did a great job. This year we did 2 pep assemblies. We divided it into a 9th and 10th grade assembly and an 11th and 12th grade assembly, which helped with social distancing. So we had a little trial run with the underclassmen, and then really knocked it out of the park with the upperclassmen later in the morning. And the parade, I think, like Jess said, I thought the attendance down Main Street was better than ever. The community came out to support our students, and that was a special moment in our homecoming festivities. And the football games we've had this year have had attendance beyond anything we've seen in recent years as well. And although we lost the game, many of us who weren't on the field thought there were some moral victories in the way that the team played and the fans cheered them on. And looking forward to 2 more home games this fall. And I think the highlight of the entire week was our homecoming dance. Like everything, we've had to change the way that we create these annual events. And so we had an outdoor dance under a tent. We had lawn games, we had a bonfire, and all kinds of food and snacks. And I think what we take the greatest pride in is that 85% of our students attended the dance. And that is telling of not only what our students are craving, but I think also when you take the effort to put together a special event for them, they want to be a part of it. And I'll end by just thanking the Homecoming Planning Committee. They start planning these events in June and see it through till 11 o'clock last Saturday night when the dance ends. Or the DJ played 1 extra song, so 11:05. But those people include John Heisner, our student government advisor, Jess Harias, our Spirit Club advisor, Alethea Yunke and Laura Radley, who are 11th grade advisors, Lindsay McAndrews, a 12th grade advisor, Aaron Wilcox and Josh Dubay, 9th grade advisors, Olivia Louvulis and Sarah Nudek, 10th grade advisors, and then Chris Casalmi and the Travis Moore. Just thank them for the efforts that they put into what I would say is a homecoming week that is one that we should take great pride in and maybe even brag a little bit about. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roberts. Mr. Moore?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll only add, it's really been exciting for me as well to watch our engagement. The dance Bill mentioned with the high percentage of students attending. We had a couple weeks ago an activity night that the student government put on. Over 100 kids came to an event after the girls' soccer game and just played games and had fun on the field. Really thankful to Mr. Heisner and the Student Gov for putting that on. We restarted our activity period, and our clubs have been booming, greater attendance than many previous years. So it's been exciting to see, and just a great start to the year.
Thank you very much. Mr. Wicks, do you have anything tonight?
Yeah, I just want to say that give kind of a shout out to the B&G crew also, which has been done before, but for all the behind the scenes work that they've done for the homecoming and the color run. And that was a big event. I was at the color run and just happy to be a part of it. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Ms. Lyons.
No, I do not have anything this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Marinaccio, do you have anything tonight?
Just two things. UPK, we mentioned UPK already, but I'm happy to report that all 3 UPK classes are up and running, and we have 54 little 3 and 4-year-olds in attending our classes. We are able to collaborate with EACN. We've set up monthly collaboration meetings with our teacher and administrators and EACNs. And we talk about things like our curriculum and just making sure that we're having similar experiences for the students. We're also able to, EACN had asked if we could send over some of our like speech therapists and occupational therapists to observe some students and give some of the teachers, the 2 teachers, some tips on some of the behaviors and just developmental milestones of our little 3 and 4-year-olds. So we're able to help in that situation also. So I think our biggest challenge really was transporting 3 and 4-year-olds and getting booster seats because there really weren't any available. So it took a lot of people in Joanne's department and my department to hunt down booster seats to transport the little guys. But I think we've, thanks to Mr. Leibrock and to Hani, ironed out all those kinks, and the little ones are being transported on the buses just like the older children. So everything with UPK has really been going very well. And then the other thing is, Mr. Brown had mentioned already all of the new teachers that we have this year. And I'm surprised Jess didn't talk about this because I know she's been doing a lot of work with new teacher training, and I've been working with her also, but we've talked about new teacher training, but then also new special ed teacher training, because I actually have 7 new special ed teachers this year. I think it's probably more than a third of the special ed staff are new teachers this year. So we had 2 of our retirees, Jackie Hanovan and Nancy Beauchamp, come in yesterday, and they did our first half day of new special ed teacher training. And the feedback that I've received is that it was very engaging, informative, and very welcomed by the new teachers. So, and Jackie and Nancy have followed up with them already about needs for upcoming trainings. So I'm really looking forward to working with them on developing more training for our new special ed teachers. And I think that is everything.
Thank you very much. Mr. Membretti.
Overall, I'm just happy to be here and really have nothing to add other than I've collected a few folks that have kind of district level questions but aren't quite sure where to go with them. They're not building level, and I know there's communication with the board and the rest. Just a reminder that reopen@eak12.org is an email address that remains open. And so if you have kind of district level questions that don't quite fit at a building, but you're not quite sure they go to the board level, that reopen email heads to me, and then I farm it out to the appropriate thing. I've just had a bunch of kind of not oddball questions, but kind of misfit questions and folks not knowing where to go with them. So I just want to highlight that again.
Thank you very much. Mrs. O'Weiler.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't get my hand raised fast enough for Cindy. Cindy, there's 54 students. How many of them are taking the buses?
I think, Matt or Tahani might be able to answer that. I think we started with 26 or 27 that were being transported. And
Okay, sorry.
And then there were 12 that were taking the shuttle from, because they all get bused to Parkdale. They get picked up at the Parkdale run, and then we put them on a shuttle bus to EACN. But Matt, do you have a more accurate number?
Yeah, there's about, I'd say a dozen or just a little bit less than that stay at East Aurora or stay at Parkdale. And then there's probably about 15 to 20 that get on the transport bus to go over to EACN. So in total, we're probably around, 25-ish, give or take the day.
And you had to find booster seats for all of those students?
No, only the 3-year-olds, because they could be 3, they have to turn 4 by December 1st. So if they're 3, they have to be in booster seats until they turn 4. So their birthdays are sort of staggered throughout September, October, November, but by December 1st, they should all be out of booster seats.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you all for the information. Did I catch everyone? All right, thank you. We are moving on to the section we are calling community comments. We have a number we've received. Oh, go ahead, Kim.
I'm sorry, I couldn't find my hand. Is it just, it's just an age-based booster seat? It's not based on weight? Okay.
Just age.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim. Your hand is still up. Do you have another one? No. Okay. Just checking, make sure I'm looking at the right thing. So for community comments, we've received a number of emails and letters since our meeting of August 25th, or for the meeting of August 25th. So all board members should have all of these, and I'll remind the community that the email address is boe@eak12, theboard.org. The board does read all of those letters, and we may not necessarily respond to them, but we are taking in all of that information. So I'm going to go through the list so the board and the community are aware, and if anyone is missing any information, please let me know. August 25th, 26th, 27th, 31st, and September 1st, we received a number of emails from Unmasked New York Kids in support of removing restrictions on masking, and there's information and concern about vaccinations. On August 26th, we received a letter from Sarah McCloskey requesting no masks. Nick Graves on 8/26, some disapproval about the meeting on 8/25. Sarah Hornung on 8/27, thank you to the Board of Ed and supporting mask mandates. Debbie Curl on 8/28, board concerns about board authority on masking, vaccinations, and testing. Samuel Cosmano on 8/28, concerns about bees in the high school athletic area. Becky Horning on 8/28 about a student health issue. Becky O'Connor on 8/30 about the farm to school program and food service contract. Colleen and Judson Ungst on 8/30, thank you to the Board of Ed and support of mask mandates. Amy Geip on September 2nd, thank you to the Board of Ed and support of mask mandates. Everyone tracking along okay with me here? Okay, that takes us up to September 2nd. September 2nd, Jennifer Fee on a thank you to the Board of Ed. On September 5th, 7th, and 11th, there are more dates here. We received a number of emails about masking and vaccinations from Unmasked New York Kids. Deborah Curl on September 7th, against masking. Caitlin Sheeler, 9/10, school lunch concerns. Unmasked New York Kids on 9/18, again about masking. Debbie Curl on 9/18, again, concerns about masking. Michelle Kavanaugh on 9/20, received a letter with 36 questions related to masking. Dawn Radska on 9/20, same 36 questions, and a copy of a letter from Carl Schwartz. Sarah and Sean McCloskey on 9/21, same 36 questions. Pete Kavanaugh on 9/21, same 36 questions. Becky O'Connor on 9/23, Farm to Institution Program, the school lunch program. Kathleen Caputi on 9/24, the same 36 questions. Dawn Vana on the 27th and 28th had requests about information on our oath of office. Carissa DeRosa on 9/27, email about meeting time and place and links on the website. I believe Jackie responded with answers. An anonymous letter on 9/27 about bullying concerns. Matthew Koken on 9/28 about administrative leave and mask questions. George Barbari on 9/28, policy regarding masks and the same 36 questions we received in prior emails. Becky Horning on 9/28, the same 36 questions. Amy Geip on 9/29, supporting mask mandates. Cecilia DiStefano on 9/29, thanking us for following guidelines. Cindy Wadsworth on 9/29, thanking the board for their service and following guidelines. Mary Lynn Henson on 9/30, email about unmasking, ungagging, uncensoring. Jeffrey Cruson on 10/5, various items, including Board of Ed meetings, visitor comments, and COVID funds. And then we've mentioned that Terry, Brian, and I met with Don Kavanaugh Vona and Deneen Cole about concerns related to parent choice and mandates, and the board has received a message on that topic from Dawn and Deneen. I think that covers all of the comments received up to yesterday. Everyone up to speed? Okay, thank you. Moving on to reports and discussion items. Items for board discussion, update on the reopening of schools. Mr. Russ.
Yeah, so I think a lot of the administrators fill this in, but I would say the same thing. It's really been a great opening to school. We started off with the kids coming back really enthusiastic, and I know the teachers and support staff, administrators were just excited about having everybody come back full time. Things have gone very well. We are required to wear masks indoors, and so we're really trying to watch that as carefully as we possibly can. While we're outdoors, we've had some new guidance that allows our students to remove their masks for different athletic events, for the other gatherings, homecoming events, again, which was really great. Want to thank the crew that set up, because setting up the tents, Doug's crew that did that, it took a lot of time to create the space for the students, but they were able to get out, dance, be together. And then they also had games set up for them. So it was just a really great evening. The football game was great, huge crowd, lots of people enjoying coming out and being together. Same thing for the color run. We had really great turnout. It's just a really wonderful day. We had beautiful weather, thank goodness, because Sunday was the day that it rained. Not so great for the Bills game, but it was really great for our activities. And so really Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night was all really wonderful. A lot of good things happening at Parkdale, having parents in for various activities. We have our Fall Fest tomorrow. Same thing for the middle school. People are actively engaged and enthusiastic about being here. So overall, it's been really, really positive. Very low incident rate. We're not dealing with, we haven't had anything that's been traced into school at all. And even outside of school, there has been some quarantine issues that we've had to deal with, but those are related to other activities that our kids are involved in. So things have been running along very smoothly. Lots of enthusiasm. I think opening day was really nice, as Dan mentioned. Having it in the gymnasium was different for us. We always start in the auditorium, but having in the gym just was a little, I think, more lighthearted. We were able to create a nice breeze by opening the doors, and so it was just nice having everybody together. And I think we started off on a good note, and it's just been clicking right along. So no concern. Any other comments from the administrators in regard to that, or I think pretty much covered it all. Yep. So we have teacher training. We're off on Tuesday. Students are off on Tuesday, excuse me. But we have professional development for the staff, the teachers and support staff. And so Jess has been working on that with the other administrators and with Cindy in regard to kind of a gen ed, a special ed combination. So that's really positive. And again, getting back to some of these things that we've done in the past that I don't want to say we take them for granted, but now that they've been gone, we really realize how powerful and important they are. So I think things are going really well. We had a good audit. So again, thank Joanne and her crew. They did a fantastic job. Personnel, I think too, is hired a lot of really bright new people in all areas of the organization, and they're off to a great start. I'll be meeting with them, and they have some new teacher training planned for them as well. So yeah, things are good. I want to thank the board. The board has been fantastic in supporting us through the process. I know the last couple of months have been particularly difficult, and you're always there. You come with great support and great ideas on how to keep the district moving forward, and we're just really grateful for the relationship we share and for your devotion to the school district and the greater community. So again, yeah, thank you. And I don't know if there's any other comments. Mark, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, if I could just jump in, and you knew you were going to forget these, and that's why you told me to remind you to say these. Two things. One, we are working on re-expanding our universal feeding for weekends and holiday breaks again. Meals are free, paid for by the federal government through June 30th. We fed people through the summer, and things were good as we were getting the school year started up, and obviously majority of these kids are now receiving their breakfast and lunch in school. We've had a small but consistent presence of folks who said it would be possible or would be very helpful for us to continue to provide meals over weekends and holiday recesses. So we are working to get that back up to speed. So that should be happening throughout October, first half of October, although days are going quick. And then the other thing you told me to remind you, oh yeah, so see, I forgot too. We are, as of now, if a child is out on quarantine, and we've had very small numbers of kids out on quarantine, they are treated as if they were absent and given asynchronous work. We've pledged to remain flexible, and that's a work in progress. We are currently working on coming up with some minimum standards for contact, depending on how long the kid is out and what the actual diagnosis is, and looking at, as this continues to evolve, both with individual cases, but also numbers, and also as we all move into the fall and winter season in Western New York, the flexibility of the difference between synchronous, asynchronous, when, how. So that is an active conversation we're having at the cabinet level. Our first thought was, let's get the kids back, let's get them up and learning, and then that's kind of in Act 2 here. So we're moving into that now that October's here. But we are keeping a very close eye on keeping quarantined kids and kids out for any other illness engaged with their schoolwork. So I know some parents did reach out to me on that. It's actively in the hopper.
Thank you very much. Terry, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was going to add one more thing is about the farm to school program. Joanne and Mark have been working on it, and actually Jess and I talked about it too. Is she's going to join in. Maybe take Mark's place in that regard, because we're going to treat it like as a curriculum, as part of the curriculum for the health and wellness program that we've been working on. Bill's done a really nice job getting the health program started at the high school, but we want to expand it. We want to bring in our social workers at both the middle and the high school level, and we're going to design it a little differently for Parkdale. But we're also going to be working with the health, the phys ed teachers, and then also looking at how can we incorporate healthy choices in regard to what they eat. So that's going to be part of that farm to school program. And so we've been working with Becky O'Connor. I appreciate them meeting with her. And then there's another thing next week. Unfortunately, I'm away, so I won't be able to attend. But I know that Joanne and I believe Jessica will be attending. So we're going to continue to move that forward. And we're kind of excited about how that kind of links up with other things that we've already have in place.
Thank you. That's great. Terry.
Yes, I had a question about the health screening. I've had numerous parents ask me, why are they still getting the health screening every morning, knowing that they don't necessarily need to fill that out. So just kind of wanted to know where we stand with that, and is that going to be deleted, or what's our?
Yeah, so I can address that. As of now, the requirement is lifted. The amount of work on the back end to get that program up and then take it down, and then have to get it up again if need be. So we've erred on the side of currently, we're going to continue to send it out. Parents through the text can opt out of it. It is not required. If you don't do it, you won't get a phone call like you were getting through the month of September. But knowing that the state has changed its mind frequently, the amount of capital it takes to get that program up and down, we didn't want to pull it down just to get it back up. On the other end, we found that and I talked to a number of other districts, and they're continuing the same model of keeping it at the forefront of parents' minds, in terms of what the symptoms are and the screening. Our nurses do use that information. It is helpful. It's obviously voluntary and optional. If it looks like we're not going to ever bring this back, or not for a long time, we'll have another conversation about taking it down completely. but just it's not a program you can just turn on and off, and that's why it's continuing to be pushed out right now.
Is there a plan to let the parents know just what you said?
Yeah, we
So-
actually spoke about that this morning. Yeah, we kind of communicated that it's no longer mandatory, but not that. We're also turning off the nudge. So right now, if you don't respond within an hour, you get a second text. So we're going to turn that off, and we're going to clarify that to parents that for the time being, it is a helpful tool. It's helpful for the parents. It's helpful for the school, but it's no longer required. But it's not just something we can flip on and off. And if the state next week says we need it back on immediately, which the state has been known to do, we wanted to let this thing kind of sit for a little bit. So we did talk about that this morning, though. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question, and thank you, Mark.
And just one more comment on that, Terry. The nurses find it really helpful because it's like a direct link for them to those students who aren't feeling well. And so when parents do go through it, and I know a number of parents are continuing to choose to do it, and then some are not. But I know that the nurses found it to be very valuable in regard to being able to quickly move through the list of students who and adults who are not feeling well in terms of the response to that. But we follow the guidance, as we have in the past, and as that guidance, it's easing up a bit, which is really great. But there are some of the tools that are actually very helpful for us in terms of conducting business and keeping things moving forward. And so that's what kind of another reason why we left it in place. And I don't know if Matt Laverick's been working with the nurses on that, and I know that they find it it's a good piece to work with.
Yeah, they can still check the dashboard, which is nice for the nurses to be able to check if there are any responses for what used to be the thumbs down, but now indicates somebody's symptomatic. But also from a parent standpoint, I can speak personally myself that we use it as a reference. So if a parent ever needs to determine, is this something that's okay to send my child to school with or not, they can quickly reference that to see the symptoms and the questions that we would ask. So if they run into a situation a week from now, a month from now, where they might think they may have been exposed to COVID, is it okay to send my child to school? It's still there as a reference for them.
Thank you. Kim.
Just jumping back to the lunches and the meals, I'm just wondering if we've had any issues in terms of supply and whether we've had to do any type of adjustments to our menus because we're having any issues getting any of the food for the children.
I can answer that. Working with Personal Touch, they have had no supply issues. And I think that's one of the things by being able to buy bulk that has helped us.
Thank you. Anything else on the reopening or any questions from the board? Thank you all for all of the information. It's great to hear all the good news. It's been a long time coming. And is there any legislation to come before the board?
No.
Okay, thank you. We are on item 11, consensus items requiring board action. I'm rusty. What the heck? May I have a motion to approve the consensus items? Dan's laughing at me.
So
Very
moved.
quietly. Moved by Terry.
Second.
Seconded by Dan. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried 7-0. Thank you. Thanks for your patience, folks. Item 12, items requiring board action. Item A, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the separation payment as outlined in your agenda to Gary George effective September 29th. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Joe.
Second.
Seconded by Paul. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Item B, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the appointment of Carly E. DiRienzo to the position of 1.0 FTE long-term substitute teacher in technology/STEAM within the tenure area of technology effective September 1 through January 30th, 2022, as
So-
detailed in your attachments. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Dan.
Second.
Seconded by Terry. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Item C, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the appointment of Emma Pucalo to the position of 1.0 FTE long-term substitute art teacher within the art tenure area effective September 1, 2021, as detailed in your attachment. I have a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Joe. Second.
Second.
Seconded by Paul. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Yep, carried 7-0. Item D, the superintendent recommends Board of Education approve the appointment of Aaron Zito to the position of 1.0 FTE probationary special education teacher within the tenure area of education of children with handicapping conditions, general special education, beginning October 12, 2021, as detailed in your attachment. I have a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Judy. Second. Is that Terry? Oh, Kim. Seconded by Kim. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Item E, the superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the memorandum of agreement by and between the East Aurora Union Free School District and the East Aurora Administrators Association and Matthew Brown as detailed in the attachment. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Dan.
Second.
Seconded by everyone. Was that Joe?
Yeah.
Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Thank you. Item F, the superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the following revisions to the substitute, approve the revisions of the substitute teacher pay rates originally approved at the July 7th reorganizational meeting and effective for the 21-2022 school year, beginning October 13th, as detailed in your agenda. I have a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Judy enthusiastically.
Yes.
Second.
Second.
Seconded by Kim, I think. All those discussion.
I'd just like to say that this is long overdue. You know, we consider salaries for lots of groups of people every year, and there's been minimal changes over the years, although there have been some changes in substitute teachers. But this rate that is now being approved is much more appropriate, and I believe we are very grateful to have these folks who, many of whom are very skilled teachers, coming in to help us when we're in need. And so appropriately compensating them is the right thing to do. So I enthusiastically support this change.
Me too. Amen.
Thank you, Dan. I think it has a full enthusiastic support from the board. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried enthusiastically 7-0. Thank you very much. Item G, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the memorandum of agreement by and between the East Aurora Union Free School District and the East Aurora Civil Service Personnel Association as detailed in the attachment. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Paul.
Second.
Seconded by Terry. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried 7-0. Thank you all. For items of information, our next regularly scheduled board meeting will be Wednesday, October 20th, in person at the high school with an executive session ahead of the meeting. We need to determine if that's a 5:30 or 6 p.m. Stay tuned. But the public portion of the meeting will begin at 7. And there are a number of items listed in your agenda for upcoming items, including the NISBA virtual conference. Is there any other information to come before the board?
Other than I just want to say you did it before 8:30, Jess. That's
I'm kind of confused. Thank you all very
Congratulations.
much. Thank you for bearing with me. You'd think we hadn't done this for ages and ages. I think I got quickly used to being back in person. So look forward to being back in person in 2 weeks.
Thank
Any
you.
other business? No?
Well, I'd just like to say, I think this was an excellent meeting, and it's nice to see all your faces.
I agree, Dan. Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
May I
good
have a
night.
motion? Hold on. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Joe, seconded. Who seconded? Seconded by Terry. Discussion. Oh, we got furry friends. This is awesome.
Aw.
This is our time, so let's hang up here, will you?
All right. All those in favor? Aye.
Bye.
Carried 7-0. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good.
Good night.
I'm not sure how to do this.